Okay, so now we know about the correct weight distribution. We have 60% of our weight in this foot, 40% in this foot, and we're going to try and maintain this weight distribution whilst we're moving around the ring. We're also going to think about this distance here, distance in between our left foot and our front and our right foot. Thinking about the triangle, we're not going to be too narrow and we're not going to be too wide where we're too square on. So we're going to be maintaining that triangle, maintaining the weight distribution. When we're moving forward, we want to take our front foot first. So we'll take our front foot and our back foot will follow. Front foot, back foot, front foot, back foot. If we're going backwards, we take our back foot first. Back foot, front foot, back foot, front foot, back foot, front foot. If we're going to the left, then we're going to take our left foot first because we're opening up that distance before we're closing it with our back foot. So left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. If we're going to the right, we take our right foot first. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. We're always opening up the stance before we close it up as we're moving around. So now say we're moving around in the ring in all directions. I want you to look at my feet and see how I'm never closing my feet up like this. So what happens when I'm like this? I'm off balance. When I'm off balance and I get caught with a shot, I'm going to end up on the canvas. So moving around in any direction, you'll see that the corresponding foot goes first. And sometimes you'll also see when I'm changing from going backwards to forwards, say, that the weight distribution sometimes changes. Say if I'm transitioning from going forward to backwards, then when I come forward like this, I'm going to have to push off this front foot to start going backwards again. So that's the only time where you're going to be changing the weight distribution. So in summary, we want to be maintaining that weight distribution. We want to be maintaining that distance between our left and right foot, or if we're southpaw, right and left foot. And we never want to be bringing our feet together, no matter what direction we're moving in. We want to maintain this stance, or when we're moving, opening, then closing, not closing, then opening. Next thing we're going to learn when it comes to footwork is the pivot. Of course, when it comes to the pivot, this weight distribution of 60% on the back and 40% on the front is going to change slightly because you can't keep all the weight on the back foot whilst it's in the air. So during the pivot, we're going to try to keep our back foot close to the ground as possible. So we've got our feet set, ready to throw some shots. You're going to change a little bit more weight on this foot and you're almost going to try slide this foot round. Of course, you're not going to like scrape your foot around, but you want to try to keep this foot as close to the ground as possible because then you're more in this 60 to 40% weight distribution, ready to attack. Same going for the other way. You're keeping that weight back as much as you can. Nice close to the ground. And be on balance when we finish the pivot. Our pivots are great for changing the angle when your opponent's coming onto you. So say, imagine I've got an opponent in front of me. If they're attacking, but I'm going to take a little step back and I'm going to pivot. Now what's happened is I'm facing him, but he's probably facing that way. So he's unable to hit me, but I can hit him. So I'm at a position now where I can land a shot. Same goes for if I'm pivoting this way. A lot of people use what's called a check hook, where they're pivoting as they throw the left hook and they're catching them on the way in. They're facing him, he's not facing them, he's probably facing that way, ready to get knocked out.
Check left hook, goes right into it. You never saw it.
What a perfect shot.
A little bit more of an advanced technique when it comes to footwork is something called the L step. And this is great for taking yourself out of range whilst also changing the angle at the same time. How we do this is we push off this front foot and we step this foot to the side. So here I'm boxing. I've taken that angle. I've dropped this front foot out of range and I've taken an angle. So you just got to think I'm switching my stance from here to this. It's almost like I'm changing my stance to southpaw, but at a weird angle. And then we're going to push off and now we're over here. We're getting out of range and we're changing the angle at the same time. It's going to take some practice, but as you're shadow boxing and you move, and you move, and that's how you L step. Again, another more advanced technique when it comes to footwork is something called the step pivot. Now, if you think back to the start of the lesson where we were taking those small steps forward or to the left, now what we're going to do is combine those steps with a pivot. If you imagine I've got an opponent in front of me, and as he's attacking, he's throwing his right hand, he's an orthodox opponent. I want to take my head off the centre line. I'm going to take my head outside of his backhand, which is coming at me here. I'm going to take a pivot, take a step, and then change the angle. And then I've got a more advantageous position than he has. The same goes for going to the other side. Take a step and pivot. And now I'm over here, ready to strike. I might slip as I step to the left and then come off. Like so. And then the same goes for going the other way. A general rule of thumb is we never cross our feet. When we cross our feet over like this, we're off balance. But when it comes to this step pivot, because we're changing our body's angle, now I'm facing this way, ready to pivot, I'm not going to be off balance. So obviously this is going to take a lot of practice, but just practice that little step pivot, and you'll be able to move yourself into a more advantageous position, ready to counter your opponent. Another useful technique that you can utilize in your boxing footwork is only taking one foot out at a time. So when we're moving forwards, backwards, left and right, we were taking both our feet. This time we're just going to take 1 foot at a time. So let's say we're in range, we've got our shots off, and we just want to take a small little step back to then re-engage in our second phase. We're just going to take our back foot back just about 6 inches. And now all that's done is, if you see my head here, all that's done is it's brought my head just out of range. This is what you call a layback, but we're just going to teach the footwork of it for now. So let's say I've thrown a 1-2. I'm just going to take my back foot back. I'm out of range. He's thrown a shot. He's missed. And I'll come back. I'm going to step back in, throw a backhand. That's called a 2-phase attack. I'm going to go over more of that in a later module. But for now, all I'm trying to emphasize is that we can move 1 foot at a time. It doesn't have to be always like that. We can just take 1 foot and move back. Same, we can take the front foot. Say we're out of range and we want to get in range. We can take the front foot, get ourselves into range, get our shots off, and get back in, get back out. It's just, see how I was in range, 1-2, out of range, back in with my second phase. And that is how you drop step, or you just use 1 foot to get yourself in and out of range.